since Gen 3, they made you feel bad for like beating these guys.
And now, coming to you live from atop the Lavender Town Radio Tower, it's the one, the only PUCL Podcast! It's PUCL! PUCL! It's PUCL! PUCL! Pokemon Underground Champions League, oh yeah. PUCL! Grab your friends, it's that time again. Listen to the show with the fun never ends. It's PUCL! PUCL! Oh yeah. PUCL! It's your host, Thatch, and your co-host, whoever you have. It's PUCL! PUCL! Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. PUCL! PUCL.
And welcome to the 343rd episode of the PUCL Podcast. I am your host, Trainer Thatch, here today with my excellent co-host.
This is Scron
and Basket.
And as always, we're here to bring you the Pokemon Underground Champions League, or PUCL, a Pokemon podcast. The name actually doesn't originate with Pokemon, however. It was originally the name of the first roller coaster in the United States in 1884. The roller coaster was later renamed to the Switchback Railway, but since then we've reclaimed the name and we've used it for our community ever since.
Yes, the first roller coaster in the United States was named the Pokemon Underground Champions League.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense. Even before Pokemon existed as a concept.
They were just ahead of their time.
Yeah, clearly.
They were clearly just ahead of their time. They knew it was up.
Ahead of their time. Indeed.
And as always, we are your Pokemon podcast, from everything from the video game to the trading card game to even Pokemon Live, the musical. If anybody knows,
is that
what
a
that
thing?
Is. Yeah, did you not know about this? Wait, did you really not know about this?
What?
Yeah.
Pokemon Live, the musical.
So back in Gen 1, so they were trying to hardcore. They tried to hardcore, like, market everything out of Pokemon that they possibly could. And what they did was they made a stage production of Pokemon. It was called Pokemon Live. Barely anybody has seen it. There is one tape somewhere, but it hasn't surfaced yet, where it's like one of those lost mysteries of Pokemon. We just want to watch it because they were supposed to release like a VHS or like a film version of it, and they just never got to it because this thing failed horribly.
I'm just imagining like Danny DeVito running around in a Pikachu costume or something.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Pika. Well, I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty bad. I only saw one picture of it, and it had Pikachu front and center, and his arms were raised up like he was like singing, really loudly, and his costume was so like fat and huge.
Yeah, it was interesting. It also had Mew 3 in it, which was just a gigantic robot Mewtwo. And if you went to Pokemon Live, you actually got a Mew 3 card. It wasn't an official Wizards of the Coast card or anything. It was just like a generic, like, hey, we put a picture on a card-sized thing. Here you go.
I want one of those.
Yeah. I'm not lying. This was a thing.
Cool.
Yeah, this was a thing.
Wow.
There's definitely been a search for getting the tape. I think a YouTuber by the name of Chad Tronic is on the hunt for it, and I don't think he's found it yet.
Chad Tronic.
He's an interesting YouTuber. He does a lot of reaction video type stuff, but it's interesting reaction video type stuff. It's not just like, I'm watching this. Yep. It's actually, he delves into the content, and it's kind of like H3H3 style, in my opinion. Yeah. He's a very interesting guy.
Good YouTubers.
Yeah.
Rather than the, smash that like button kind of guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's the kind of guy that does it ironically.
But if you want to go to the PUCL YouTube channel and smash that like button, go ahead.
I'm not going to stop you.
All right.
So what have you guys been up to in Pokemon? Or not in Pokemon. What have you guys just been up to lately? I don't care about just Pokemon. Maybe something
Yes.
else happened in your life that was exciting.
Oh, I'm going to talk all about the Pokemon stuff because it's been a bit since I've been on the episode. And the last time I was on was the Thatchless episode on Japanese Pokemon mythology. Right. And since then, a lot has happened. I'll just narrow it down to 3 things, okay? The first thing was I got certified as a VGC Pokemon judge.
Woo!
After,
Nice.
you know, like the 2 months of background check that they had to do, which took forever.
I think when I went through mine for a TO, it took something like 7 weeks. So that seems pretty standard.
Yeah, I even sent in an email, and like 2 days after I sent that email, it got through. So sometimes you just have to push it along through the right avenues, I think.
So fun fact, I'm going to follow this up. Shamu's trying to become a TCG judge, so he has it for PUCLCon. And
Yeah.
I was talking to him about it, and he said he still hasn't been contacted. He applied before you did. Yeah.
Maybe he should send an email
That's what I'm
to
thinking.
them.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is I recently went to GameStop, and I saw a Bounce Suite plushie, and I was like, I need this in order to represent the existential pain I have in living. Because if you think about it, Bounce Suite is like the Pokemon that represents that quality the most, right?
Mhm.
It's in constant fear of being devoured by everything that it sees, and it's screaming out for help by smiling at everyone around it. You know?
Yeah.
And I have it hanging in my room, and it's watching me while I sleep now.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And the third thing is that I did Pokemon Community Day with Viger today.
Oh, how
That
was
was
that?
fun.
I did that as well. I got my Larvitar, so I can get a couple of Tyranitar. I think it was better than last time.
I would normally be like, I feel really self-conscious when I have to talk about my Pokemon Go experiences because I know Professor Snag would be listening to this episode. And like whenever you know what I'm talking about, right? Because like whenever you try to talk about like anything Pokemon Go related with him, he'll just be like, oh wait, I did 5 times that. And I'm just like, well, I got my Tyranitar, I got my shiny Tyranitar, and I got a Kyogre. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I got. Well, I didn't get Kyogre. I did not get Kyogre because we haven't
that
found
was
like
fun. That
the
was-
big park in Dayton yet. We're still looking for the big park. I heard it was Riverscape. I did not go there today.
All right, so that's what I've been doing in Pokemon. Also, like Pokemon Quest and stuff. Oh, not Pokemon Quest. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, the Pixel one.
Yeah, like I've been putting that on in the background, and you know,
In
it's
the
like
background.
super easy, and like you don't really have to do anything.
No, you don't.
It's like it's cool. It's cool, right? And like
No.
you can take autonomy into it, but you know, it's just sort of nothing.
It's
Anyway,
it's a mobile game. Let me tell you about it. It's just
it's
a mobile game.
I was tempted to spend $30 on it. I'll tell you that.
I thought
But
about
then,
it,
like-
and then I'm just like, you know what? I'll just not do that right now and see what happens. And then I didn't do it,
Exactly.
and I'm
exactly.
perfectly fine.
Exactly. All right. What about you, Basket?
So in Pokemon, I've restarted a Black Nuzlocke. That's one of the few that I have not actually ever been able to complete.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. It's really difficult to get past.
Chuck? Is it Chuck?
It's just the beginning areas because
Ah.
basically the Pat Rats, like they learn Super Fang or something like that, like really, really, really quick, and then they have quick attack. So it's like this crazy, annoying frustration. And then there's all those stupid P-Dubs with Super Luck that can just like critical randomly, and you never know which ones have it. So that's also a huge pain. And the types that you can get, they're way, way, way spread out. Like in the beginning, you can get
Yeah.
normal, flying, and bug and fighting, and that's like it, essentially. Like minus, of course, like the starters.
And the
But
free
if you
monkey.
don't have,
right?
And the monkey.
if you don't have a starter and you lose one of your types, you're not going to be able to find that again, because I do the species clause when I play.
Mhm.
So that in games, I don't run into a Rattata, it dies, and then I run into a Raticate instead of a Growlithe or something like that, So I always have the species clause, and then in that specific game, I'm thinking of like taking that out maybe, because otherwise I just can't get the types that I need, If my P-Dove goes, then there's no flying, like for a long, long time. Yeah, but you can get a what's the thing between P-Dove and Pheasant?
Tranquil.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get one of those like almost directly after the next gym after you get your first P-Dove. So that species clause just kind of screws me. So I think I'm going to need to stop doing that.
Cool. That species clause wouldn't work in an Emerald Nuzlocke. You just end up with like 6 Wingull or something.
No, yeah, totally. Like Emerald was one of the reasons why I was like species clause like has to happen.
Absolutely.
I need my Whismer and my Wingull and my Zigzagoon, and I'm ready to go, guys. You know.
Hey, those Loudred stab stomps are pretty nice. I'm pleasant to say it once you get past Brawly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
All right. What about you, Thatch? What have you been doing in Pokemon?
It depends on which section of Pokemon you want to talk about. Logistical puckle stuff, or if you want to talk about actual Pokemon stuff. Because this week
Let's do the exciting stuff.
Okay, so the logistical puckle stuff. No, so I've been working on a couple of different things. I do like a Crystal Nuzlocke in my spare time. Like I'm just going through gen by gen and just doing a Nuzlocke of each third version of each game. And hopefully at some point that gets me to actually play my second copy of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Because I purchased it at launch because I don't know why at this point. I was thinking about streaming all of this that I'm doing, like just Nuzlocks and everything. But one, that just requires me to go and stream a ton. And two, I feel like I need something that I need like Pokemon time away from content creation. Or I'm going to drive myself crazy and hate the franchise and then not want to do Puckle, and then everybody's sad and then they go listen to other Pokemon podcasts and then nobody really actually misses us. And
yeah, you might want to be in the draft league next season. You really seem to like that.
I was really into it last season 1 when it came out, and then I didn't want to do it this season, and it was specifically because I didn't want to I was in the midst of getting my PhD done.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be doing a draft league for the last like 6 weeks that I'm in grad school, because those are going to be the roughest 6 weeks that I'm going to have in a while. And I don't need that additional like, oh, I need to prep for this, or then just lose all of my Pokemon confidence because I like lose a couple of games and then I just let that get to me and it snowballs. I try to keep it fresh and light. That's kind of my what's it called, mentality when it comes to competitive Pokemon in general. I try to keep it fun and light, especially at this point. I'm not interested in laddering. I'm not interested in getting to the top 500 on Showdown. I don't think that's interesting. I don't think that's exciting. I'd much rather be like, ha, I just beat you with the Dunsparce or something like that. You know, like that's the kind of game I play.
It's extremely rewarding when I'm on like ladder 1500 in VGC and I'm staying there with a Ampharos team.
Yeah, no,
like that is I love it. I love it so much.
One of my favorite things to do personally on the ladder is to get somewhere like 1500, like in the middle of the ladder, somewhere that it's definitely like, oh, you worked your way up here, like you had to earn this. And then you switch teams to something completely random, something off meta, and people just because I get the satisfaction on the other end that the guy's going, how did he make it all the way up to 1500 on the ladder? And I get the satisfaction of thinking that he thinks that on the other end.
Yeah.
Go, my 6 lily pups, go.
And I just like doing that kind of stuff, but I try to keep it fun and light. That's kind of how I did so well back at St. Louis regionals and everything. Was I went into every match going, I'm gonna lose this. I don't need to be here. I don't care. I've got nothing to lose in this match. And I think that's kind of why a lot of people in VGC that do the traveling for it and everything, I think that's why they do poorly sometimes. Just because it gets in their head like, hey, I came all the way out here. This is what I do. I spent money to come out here. My real answer is I came out to St. Louis to visit Bo and Viger, and I'm just in this Pokemon tournament for funsies. And apparently I'm on a train and you can't stop it. And because I'd sit down every game and I'd be like, yeah, I don't care if I'm going to win or anything. And my opponents were just like, oh, well, then I hope you lose then so that I can win and move on because this matters to me. I'm like, I'm not going to make it easy for you. And every single time they got sorely depressed. That was probably one of my favorite Pokemon experiences of all time.
Oh yeah, I just love smashing in the dreams of neckbeards.
It was Scron. Actually, you would have really enjoyed it if you were there. In retrospect, you would have just like every single time I came back from the table, I'm like, yeah, this guy asked me what I was doing. He asked me if this was my first tournament, and then he went into this spiel about how it was his 50th tournament or whatever nonsense, and that he once top cut when he was in seniors and not in masters, and he was trying to talk
Back
like
in them good old days.
He was trying to talk like he was like somebody that I should care about. And then I sit there and he goes on full tilt game 1 when I get a burn off a Scald.
Oh my god.
I get like a Scald burn onto a Tapu Bulu on a switch in. And he got visibly upset.
What now? Yes, I play competitive card games just so I can see other people in pain.
I feel like you would have literally enjoyed just being there with me. Knowing you, I just feel like you would have really had a good time with that.
I would have stood over your shoulder and smiled ominously.
All right, that's enough for that right now. Let's take we're just gonna kick it on over to the news. Let's cue that epic music.
Coming to you live from the Lavender Town Radio Tower. This just in.
And welcome to the news. That we have a ton of Pokemon Go news specifically to talk about. But before we get to that, I would just like to make a few honorable mentions before we get into the thick of it. First of all, E3 happened this week. Smash Ultimate was announced, along with every single Pokemon that's ever been in the Super Smash Bros. Game. So now you can play as Pichu to your heart's content. There we go.
Wait, is that literally the only Pokemon that's coming back?
I think...
Oh, no, there's a lot of them. You can be Mewtwo. You can like...
Well, Mewtwo and Lucario were in
that's
Smash 4.
Yeah, the only one that's coming back is Pichu.
Really?
Nice. Yeah. Oh, they are adding the female trainer.
Oh, that's true.
As the skin. So that's cool. And she has all shiny sprites.
Well, I guess to that extent, then Squirtle and Ivysaur are coming back as well.
Yes. Oh, an important thing about that. They announced that each of the Pokemon trainers' Pokemon will have the full power level of any of the other fighters.
Yeah.
So you don't have to feel like you have to constantly switch in order to gain an edge on your opponent.
Exactly.
You can just
pretty hyped
pick
about
one
that.
Pokemon and make that your main. Like, I want to be a Squirtle main.
And then you're depressed because that was the wrong choice.
I don't know.
Oh, we'll see, buddy.
I honestly don't know because what's the issue with Pikachu in Smash Bros. Right? It's that tiny little hitbox. That Squirtle might end up being a badass.
All right. Moving on to other not Pokemon Go news. Zeraora was confirmed, to nobody's surprise, to be given away from July 13th until September 30th in Japan by going to see the new Pokemon movie, which is, I forget what it's called. It's like Pokemon something something. I don't know. It's Pokemon Lugia and Zeraora's here for some reason.
Here, I'll look up what it is.
But that's the name. That's the name of the movie. That's the gist of the movie.
Everyone's story.
Everyone's story. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm more excited for the music from that than anything personally, because I think they're redoing Lugia's song in that as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to that more than anything else about that movie. I also do like that it's being set in this alternate timeline. I've talked about that before, though. I'm really happy that it's going to be in that timeline. I think that's a really interesting
alternate timeline.
I think it's interesting for the Pokemon movies to go that way, just to keep them fresh and interesting. And you can do whatever you want with it. And you can just randomly introduce mythical Pokemon with no explanation of their backstory or reason. It's fine. It's fine. It's the problem with mythical Pokemon. There's just so many problems with mythical Pokemon now.
Yeah, there's just so many.
All right, so now we're going to ease into the Pokemon Go news. The first thing I'm going to say is if you want to order Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for your pleasure and you're just like, you know what, that Pokeball Plus thing looks really neato, but it's $50, Well, I can tell you can get $10 off if you buy the bundle of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee with the Pokeball Plus for $100 in the United States. You end up saving $10, so that is a plus. It is also a Pokeball-shaped controller / Pokemon Go Plus.
Do you need the pocket thing in order to transfer the Pokemon?
No, you don't need any. You don't need this Pokeball Go Plus for literally anything.
So it's just like a Pokemon Go thing that you like could have before, that where you click and catch things.
So,
but also it's a controller.
It's a Joy-Con.
Actually
yes.
a lot better than that.
Okay, that's false. That's false. But please explain.
Okay, so it's a lot better than the little wristband thing, because A, you can hook it on your belt and look like a sweet Pokemon trainer. All right, for one, so that's cool. 2, you can basically use that as so you know how you had to have your Pokemon Go on in your pocket and you could walk by and things would like rumble or whatever, and then you could like press it. Well, this time it's going to have the cries that are going to come out of it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's news to me.
It's going to have the cries come out of the ball, and you can like I don't know if they didn't say anything about a volume button.
I imagine that's controlled by the app. I would imagine it's controlled by the app.
Yeah. So it'll vibrate and it'll say the cries or whatever. And the coolest thing about it is you can have a Pokemon, a digital Pokemon in the Pokeball itself that will make it so that that's your walking buddy, and you can put it back.
I did not know that either. That's interesting.
That's why it's super cool, because then I can just look like a sweet Pokemon trainer all the days of my life and get a million Sizor candies.
Got one of those today.
That is your Pokemon Go news, or Pokemon Let's Go news. We'll talk more about what happened in the topic today. But so Pokemon Go is going to be doing a bunch of worldwide events because we have Pokemon Go Fest, that failure of an event that happened last year. It's going to have a repeat this year. We'll see if they learn from the mistakes. I doubt it.
Yes.
I really feel like they're going to do something that just breaks the game again, and it's going to be unplayable at Pokemon Go Fest, but we'll see. But before that, July 30th or June 30th to July 1st, there's going to be a Pokemon Go Safari event in Germany. And they decided for all of these live events that they're doing this summer, that plus Pokemon Go Fest, plus another Safari event in Europe, they're going to be going ahead and trying to get the world involved, just like they did last year, by us cheering. Last year we cheered for the people at the event, and we're just like, hey, get this done so that we can get the other perks and rewards right on the outside. But this time it's the outside helping out at the same time.
So what do we get?
That's a good question. So it's a worldwide effort, and it depends on what people from different parts of the world do at the same time. So I only wrote them down for the Germany event that's happening in a couple of weekends in 2 weeks. We have extra Pokemon Go tasks for everybody outside of the Pokemon Go live events. If everybody in the world completes 100,000 research tasks, we get extra catching experience, probably like double catch experience or something like that.
I think that's going to happen.
That one will probably happen. So if over that weekend we complete 100,000 research tasks, I think that's very reasonable. If Europe, the Middle East, and Africa combined do 5 million research tasks, we get extra raid experience. That's a lot. Yeah, if the Americas do 5 million, we get extra hatch experience. And if the Asia Pacific region does 5 million research tasks, it's 1 hour of a lucky egg or something like that.
Hatch experience is ridiculous. So
yeah,
people in America do poorly.
Well, I think as long as everybody does it, everybody gets the prize, from my understanding of the press release they did for this. I could be wrong. Okay. But worst case, we get hatch experience, which is all right, but it's not the best. It's different for the Pokemon Go Fest, but I'll talk about that more next week because I want to stretch the news. That's the honest answer. But that's your Pokemon Go news. Now, if you want to Pokemon Go to Puckle stuff, you can go to... That was
Pokemon Go to the poll!
Did you see my Hillary Clinton reference there?
I'm sorry. I could not resist.
Currently in Puckle, we have the Summer League ongoing, of which both Scron and I are gym leaders. For those of you who are unaware, Summer League...
I am not a gym leader.
Wait, are you not a gym leader? Oh my gosh.
I am not.
Well, it's because we don't like you. I'm a gym leader. And if you want to learn how to play competitive Pokemon, it's a great opportunity to do it. For those of you who are new to it, you just come to our Discord server. You just battle any of the gym leaders when their gyms are open. There's a link to the website for that. And if their gym's open, you can challenge them. You can get their gym badge. And if you get 8 gym badges, you go to the final tournament, where it's a single elimination tournament. And if you win that, you get a 2DS XL. Isn't that exciting?
Oh.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Thatch, can I enter this tournament?
Yeah, you could.
This wouldn't give you the prize, we'd give it to the second.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't give it to you, but
Wait a second, buddy.
So we don't look incestuous.
Incestuous? Is that an appropriate term here?
Yeah, kind of.
Technically.
I think
Yeah.
nepotistic might be better.
Nepotistic could be
Right?
a better word. I think all of it is a good word. Both of those are good descriptions of the events that would occur.
Incestuous gives me,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And anyway, I'm still gonna try. And I'm gonna guilt you into giving that to me.
You'll come. You'll save us on shipping costs, right?
That's true.
All right.
Maybe I'll just do it to deny everyone else. You can't have this. I can't have it. Nobody.
So far, I've done about 7 gym battles, I think, and I'm gone undefeated on a team that I took probably 15 minutes to build.
Really?
Yeah, I feel really bad.
What type are you?
I'm flying this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I originally chose flying because I wanted to do Mega Pidgeot, and then I realized Mega Pidgeot's garbage. I swear.
Hurricane.
Whoa. Not true.
It is garbage in a mono flying type setting. In a mono flying type setting, it is absolutely awful. So what I did was I ended up swapping that out. I brought Lando and Thundurus because why not?
Oh my god, that's why you're undefeated.
Actually, it's not. I don't think those two have put in that much work, personally. So for those of you who are unaware of Summer League, the way it works is the gym leader teams aren't exactly monotype because, 1, that's not as fun to play with from a team building perspective, and 2, it makes the game too easy if we're just monotype teams. What we do is we have 3 Pokemon of that type, 2 Pokemon that can learn an offensive move of that same type, and then 1 wild card to help cover weaknesses.
And they have to know those offensive moves.
Exactly. So I picked Whimsicott, and I taught it Hurricane as one of my 2 Pokemon with like a move of that offensive type, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just for the lulz, for the memes, because Thatch thinks Whimsicott's a flying type, right? So why wouldn't he have it on his flying type team? Yeah, you get it? I chose Whimsicott, but I realized, I'm like, oh, you know what I could do with Whimsicott? I could have a lot of fun with this. I could run Prankster Whimsicott with Tailwind when Whimsicott's about to go down. I could just set up a Tailwind, Whimsicott gets knocked out, we go ahead and bring in another Pokemon. I'm like, what's a good Pokemon that we could bring in that could take advantage of this speed boost? And I'm like, Blacephalon hands down.
Oh my god.
And so I'm running this really weird Blacephalon with like Flame Charge, and it's just running train.
Nice.
It's a good time. I'm having fun with it.
Why don't you guys just outlaw UBs and legendaries?
Because that doesn't teach you how to play OU.
Okay.
Welcome to the OU metagame. All right.
So if you want to win that 2DS XL, come and challenge our gym leaders.
Exactly. And so you can also, if you want to come and just challenge me in real life and be like, fight me, Kyrem, right to my face. All the Puckle memes within like 5 minutes. That's what we're trying for here. If you want to come and do that, you can come to PuckleCon July 21st and 22nd in the Dayton Convention Center. It's a good time. Hooves. Oh my gosh.
You keep saying that you're going to have all this time, but you're going to be busy.
That's absolutely probably
the
true.
Whole time.
It won't stop people from trying to talk to me, though, as I learned last year.
That's fine.
They're going to try to talk to me anyway. We're going to try to do everything. If you guys want more information about PuckleCon and what's going on, first of all, just like quick synopsis, you can go and check out PuckleCon stuff at our website, puclpodcast.com. There's a tab there that links you to all the things that are happening. There's also a convenient PDF you can download for that as well. Mm-hmm. And you can see we're running a sanctioned TCG tournament, a sanctioned VGC tournament. Sanctioned, not Premier. That should be noted. It's sanctioned, not Premier. You will not get championship points. And then also, we're doing a bunch of side events, most notably of which, and the one that I always use as an example when somebody asks, what kind of side events are you running? A Pokemon Stadium 2 minigame tournament. May the prize forever be in your favor.
Oh my goodness. Are we doing Pokken too?
Pocken's going to be like one of those pickup side events, like if you can get enough people. Because I don't know how many people are going to be ready to play Pokken right off the bat, but there will be TVs provided at the venue. Mm-hmm. Where I worked at, I forgot I was going to rent some TVs, and then first of all, it was super expensive to rent TVs. Then I remembered that my brother purchased. First of all, I have a brother. I don't think anybody knows that. I did not know. I think this is the first time I've mentioned it on the show. My brother went and purchased like a bunch of these 24-inch TVs from a school that was getting rid of them for like $20 a piece, and he didn't know what he was going to do with 4 TVs. And so I'm just like, oh, hey, do you want to bring those down? Because I could use those. And so they're going to bring them down.
A
here
younger brother or an older brother?
A younger brother.
Oh, good. Rub some dirt in his face.
Yeah. He's very young.
Oh, no.
He's much younger than me. But all right. Also, very quickly before I forget, guys, we're going to be doing a art competition for a new PUCL logo. So if you guys want to be part of that, you can go ahead and just send us your logo submissions at puclpodcast@gmail.com. We really look forward to them. We are looking for finalized ideas. So if you can send in a final project, that would be great. Just send those in. If you win the contest, because we are looking to update our logo, you can go ahead and get a free t-shirt purchased for you from TeePublic with your logo on it. So definitely consider sending those in. We are going to close submissions for that on July 1st. So you have 2 weeks to do that. I look forward to see what you're going to bring. We are going to cut the news there, though, and we're going to go to Puckle's Poke Quiz, where we're going to quiz your co-hosts on their innate Pokemon knowledge. And welcome to Puckle's Poke Quiz, the part of the show where we quiz your co-host on their innate Pokemon knowledge. They are in a race of 30 points, but right now it really doesn't matter because Whimsicott wins the next time she's on the show, mostly because I lost track of the points, and I'm not going to go back and try to find out all the point scores again.
Nice. So let's just win anyway and make your...
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that in retrospect, somebody goes and looks up the points, like, maybe a year or two later, and they're just like, by the way, somebody hit 30 points before Whimsicott.
Yeah, it was Basket.
Yeah.
Oh, you owe him like a coaster or something, mate.
Yeah. Well, actually, what they're competing for now is a plush from under $20 from the PokemonCenter.com website.
I can get a second bounce suite.
To be fair, the plushes from Pokemon Center are much higher quality than that you're going to find in GameStop.
That's true.
I never got into plushes because they all look like crap, in my opinion.
You are wrong.
There's a couple of them where it's like, okay, like those are done really well, but some of them you can see the shape.
The more intricate ones are really bad. If you need to look at the PokemonCenter.com website because those are top notch, in my opinion. And most of the plushes they make are base form on purpose because if not, it gets too intricate. But for those of you who do not know anything about Pokemon or Puckle's Poke Quiz, we ask 5 questions, worth 1 point apiece. However, one of these questions will have a bonus point attached to it, so they can try for 6 points. They do get 1 hint to help them answer all of the questions. If they answer all of the questions correctly without using the hint, they can cash it in for an extra point for a possible total of 7. So if you guys are ready, I have a bunch of questions that weren't written by me ready to go.
Let's go for it.
I'm ready.
All right. So we're going to start things out nice and easy, nice and light. I want to know, what is the lightest ground-type Pokemon? Not me, specifically. I believe this is actually BK Cobra. He wants to know. Oh, no, it's not BK Cobra. I got this wrong. It is Hydra. Hydra wants to know, what is the lightest ground-type Pokemon?
The lightest ground-type Pokemon. Well, like the first thing that comes to mind is Diglett, but like I don't know if that's true.
Well, is this like a mono ground or is this like a?
Yes.
No, it just has to have ground typing.
Yeah.
Wait.
Sure, it's a mono ground.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you that for free.
Okay.
Then I would say either Diglett or Trapinch, because Trapinch is like a bug thing.
Yeah, Trapinch has a big head though. Gorilla and Diglett would weigh more. Let's think about other stuff. Okay.
Yeah, he's got that hair.
Yeah, that hair, and he's steel type, so I just assume. Oh yeah, it's a mono type, so that. In Gen 4,
I can.
there was hippopotamus.
I'm
That
gonna
was
need an
the
answer.
He's like a and
in Gen
just
5?
Fingy, but he has the same issue with hippopotas or whatever because he's an elephant. So
I just want to go with Diglett if that's okay.
yeah, sure. I mean, he's a pile of dirt. How much can he weigh?
All right. Thatch.
Diglett is correct. So that is
Yay!
1 point for you guys. All right. So that's one. All right. So we're going to move on to our next question, which comes from Ironcaster on the Discord. And he wants to know, in the anime, how many siblings does Brock have?
Oh my goodness. It's a lot. I know that much.
I have absolutely no clue. Do we have an over/under?
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a plus or minus one. Or plus or
Okay.
minus two. I'll be nice. Plus or minus two.
Well, in that case, I want to say 9. Is that fair? Because he has a lot.
Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna say 7. I'll say 7.
Okay, let's go with his.
7? That is within the margin of error. The answer is actually 9, but that gives you guys the point. He has 5 brothers and 4 sisters, for those of you wondering at home. So it is 9. Yeah. One of them is Forrest.
Don't they introduce most of them throughout the show? Just
No,
at
only
random?
one. Only one.
Oh, really?
Only one of them gets
Just
like a
one.
special aside. Yeah. Because the new Pewter City gym leader is actually Brock's brother, Forrest.
I mean, in reality, no one really cares about Brock, so no one's really cared about siblings.
That's kind of true. Our next question comes from, I believe this one is actually from, nope, this one is from Sparky. And he wants to know about Sneasel evolving into Weavile. He says, to evolve Sneasel into Weavile, it must be holding a Razor Claw and be leveled up at night. These are really specific circumstances, by the way.
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as if Nintendo were just like, man, when this Pokemon hits level 30, you should flip your 3DS upside down. If only that was a joke. And so in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, there are only 2 ways of obtaining a Razor Claw. You are given one by an NPC in Tapu Village. What is the other way you can obtain a Razor Claw?
Catching a Sneasel.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because in a lot of gens, that's something that Sneasel has on him.
Yeah, and you can catch Sneasel in that one Icy Mountain place.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can come up with a better idea, let's go for that, because I'm purely basing that off of the other games.
Well, my guess would have just been Battle Tree.
Well, that's probably completely possible too.
Yeah.
That makes it. So then let's do.
I'll say it's not Battle Tree. I'll say not Battle Tree. It's not.
I like your answer, Basket.
Okay, then we'll say catching a Sneasel with Razor Claw.
That is incorrect, kind of, for the most part. So it is a held item by a Pokemon, just not by Sneasel. It's actually by the Komodo line. Jangmo-o, Hakamo-o, and Komo-o actually all have a chance to hold it. Komo-o itself has like a 50% chance if you can find a wild one, which can happen from my understanding. It's just like a 1% chance.
Yeah, SOS battles, right?
Oh crap! And that's right. Sneasel doesn't hold that. He holds something else that's some other claw or.
Oh yes, he
Maybe
holds
it's
the
a
grip
thing.
claw. The grip claw.
Grip claw.
Yeah. Crap.
The item that nobody else uses. But that's close, guys. So the next question is the question that contains your bonus point. And this one comes from BK Cobra. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to get it right, but I needed trivia questions. And it was pretty timely.
Bring it on.
In the new footage of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee shown at E3 this week, it was revealed that Pikachu learns a move it hasn't in previous titles.
Oh,
What move was it? And you get a bonus point. And you get a bonus point.
Wait.
So 1 point for knowing the move and another point for knowing what level it learns the move.
Okay, I think it was double kick, and I think the level was like 14 or 15.
I'm going to go with your judgment on this one.
But I can't remember if it was 14 or 15.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
gonna say double kick at 14.
That is correct on the move, but incorrect on the level. It is double kick. He does learn double kick now because we have to make things easy for you. going into gym leader battles, significantly more so than before. And it's almost as bad as Charmeleon learning Metal Claw and Leaf Green and Fire Red.
It blew my mind that nobody that was playing like on the live stream saw that.
They saw it. They probably just didn't want to mention it like outright.
Yeah, like
like that's just like a bigger sign of hand holding than anything else, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It was just crazy to me because it was like, wait, is that a new move? Why is nobody talking about this? What's going on? And then I was like, oh wait, no, okay. Because I was gonna actually write to the Viridian Guild. I was gonna be like, Pikachu learns a new move, and then I was like, wait, no,
just double kick.
He probably already knows that move, but I never used Pikachu.
He doesn't.
Haven't since like
he doesn't. It's just new. It's just new to him now. He learns it at level 9 now, though. In Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Well, at least in the beta that they showed.
Oh wow.
So that gives you guys 3 total points today. So let's see if we can make it 4. You do still have the hint.
Yeah, and 2 of the answers to our questions today have been 9. So we're almost at 3 9s, and then I can do a very inappropriate reference.
Too bad, because this is question number 5, and as always, every week, it is a stat-based question, and I want to know today, what is the Ice-type Pokemon with the highest base special attack?
Okay, the first thing, like, I've been raising a Frostlass, so Frostlass comes to mind, but I don't think it's Frostlass.
Is the Ice Kyurem or whatever, is that one special?
Kyurem.
Yeah.
It could be White Kyurem, I think. Maybe it's Reshiram. White Kyurem could be it, I think.
Reshiram is fire.
Oh, White Kyurem is half Reshiram, half Kyurem. It's the merged form, DNA splicers.
Oh, right.
So that comes to mind. I know it has the most potential for a powerful move in the game, or it used to at least.
Is that your final answer?
No, chill out, man. I'm thinking. Let's see. What do we got?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
there aren't many ice types out there.
Let's do that. The
White Kyurem.
Yeah. Let's do that one.
Okay. That is correct. It is White Kyurem with a base 170 special attack. It's like in the top 5 or 6, man. It's up there. But yeah, fight me, Kyurem, and it'll smack you down. Looking at you, Keldeo. And so that is gonna be it for this.
Saying Kyurem, and every time you do it, it triggers me.
That is gonna be it for this week's edition of what's it called? Puckle's Poke Quiz. There's 4 points for you guys. Let's see who gets the 31st trick question. The answer is Whimsicott. We are going to take a short break here, guys, and we're going to be right back at you with the topic.
Hey, Puckalonians, it's Sublime Manic. Can't get enough of your favorite flip-flopping podcast? Then check out our social media. You can find links to our Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube, all from our website, puclpodcast.com. And you can join our Discord to hang out with your favorite hosts and other Puckalonians. Also, check us out at twitch.tv/thepuclpodcast. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, consider subscribing to our Twitch channel. You can also check us out at YouTube at youtube.com/puclpodcast. And we also have a Patreon if you're able to give anything at patreon.com/puclpodcast.
And welcome to the topic. Our topic today is going to be all of the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee news that we gained this week from E3 and their live playthrough of the game, which was actually really interesting. They cleared up a lot of things. I don't know how much. I know Scron hasn't seen any of this, so we're going to blow his mind. But Basket, I think you've followed it. I think you've been following it.
Yeah, so I watched the whole thing. I was watching the E3, like the actual E3 thing, though. And so the issue with that was that it cut back, like, right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So it didn't have the whole treehouse. So literally they were talking and they're like, yeah, so how it's going to work is you're going to transfer your Pokemon from Pokemon Go to this place. And then once that happens, how you're going to catch them is like goes back to E3. And I was like, what? I want to know how early I can get my Pokemon Go's in here.
Okay, so new life goal is to actually get like static for a stream. Like, I want to get the white static from old TV sets and just like switch scenes on OBS, but in between it's just like white static in between.
Yeah.
I think that would be. I think that would be great.
That was for dramatic purposes because this is a podcast. But...
Yeah, no, I want that now. I want that in all of my streams. Like when something goes offline, it just doesn't go to like black. You get the snowy white channel from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Forget these digital channels. I need just really bad reception on my TV. We can clear that up actually, but let's just go through the list. There's a nice list of things that are happening. So one thing I forgot to mention about the Pokeball Go Plus earlier in the show is that they revealed if you purchase that within the first few months of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee existing, you can actually get a Mew in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And you might be like, well, I got a Mew in Pokemon Go and I can transfer my Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. They will not let you transfer that Mew into Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, it turns out. So,
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of silly.
That's what they said, because they want you to buy Pokemon Go Plus or Pokeball Go Plus, because they want you to buy that to get Mew. So fun fact. Take that for what you will. I'm blowing your minds already. It's about to get worse. All right. So gaining experience. I'm sure Basket's already seen this. When you're gaining experience for your party, the experience all rule still exists because, one, you can't battle wild Pokemon anymore, right? You've seen this, right, Scron? You can't battle wild Pokemon.
Yeah, it's just you catch stuff like Pokemon Go.
So every time you catch a Pokemon, it gives all of your Pokemon experience.
Yeah.
And the size of the Pokemon affects it, because the larger the Pokemon, the more experience points you get. The smaller the Pokemon, the less experience points you get.
The size?
Yeah, because you know how when you catch a Pokemon in Pokemon Go, you can get an extra large or an extra small version of that Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing here in Pokemon Go in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Yeah,
there better be a reference where it's a hiker and a fisherman sitting at opposite sides of a table arguing over the sizes of Lotads and Seedots.
So that won't exist because only Gen 1 Pokemon are in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Thatch, you're ruining my day.
So hard. So hard. This is my plan right now. It's just to hurt you in your soul, because we're all slow.
Do you think they'll add more?
So the Alolan I don't think they'll add it here. I think their game plan right now is, hey, let's remake Gen 1 so we can get all the Gen 1ers that picked up Pokemon Go to come to the Switch right now. I think that's their plan. And then you get people to finally realize that Niantic isn't coming up with Gen 4 Pokemon, that Gen 4 Pokemon already exist. And when the Gen 8 game comes, you get to pull some of that Pokemon Go crowd from Let's Go games to the real games. Mm-hmm. And I will forever refer to the main series, the core series games now as the real games. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are not the real games.
Yeah.
They are far worse.
I did see a little tidbit where they said in 2019, the competitive players are really going to like it. Well,
not Let's Go, but there's going to be a new... We talked about this last week on the show, but there's going to be a new Gen 8 game in 2019. They confirmed that.
That's cool.
So Gen 8's coming in 2019, and I'm glad because they actually took time to make it sounds like. So that's going to be really nice.
It was really funny because when the news of it first came out, right, and they were first... I don't know if it was leaks or... if it was like an official announcement before they showed the video, there was all these like unanswered questions sort of things. But then they said like, you will not be battling Pokemon in the wild. You'll be just catching them. Right. Mm-hmm. And then in the Viridian Guild chat, Sublime and I were talking. I was saying that this is literally a main series Pokemon game without battling wild Pokemon, and how frustrated I was that was like the only thing that they left out. He was saying, but it's not a main series game. And my thing was like, yeah, but it could be if they would have just added this one thing. Like, I don't know. It was silly to me.
You're not wrong. I think this
is literally everything about it is a regular Pokemon game, except for this specific issue. And it bothers me to no end.
So I can understand that, but it's good in a couple of different ways. One, you get the Pokemon Go tie-in. I think that's kind of a shallow first level look at it. Hey, we can get these people who play this one game to play this other game because it's got the same mechanics, right? But we can go a little bit deeper and see not only that, but it's lowering the barrier of entry into Pokemon, because if you look back at Gen 6 and they brought up the experience all and everything, they said, well, that's because people don't have as much time to grind anymore, right? We give you the experience all so you can actually go through the game at a good pace without grinding. So if we go back to this kind of does that, but it's even reducing the grinding even more, because all of the grinding, I'm putting that in quotes, that exists in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is literally catching Pokemon. So if I want to go and level up my level 2 Pokemon in the end game when in Victory Road, I don't even have to battle with them. I don't have to worry about them fainting. I don't have to run to the Pokemon Center every time. I can literally just sit there and just like toss Pokeballs at things, catch them, and then get a bajillion experience for my level 2 Pidgey. So that's another way to look at it. So it speeds up the game significantly. You're going to bring in Pokemon Go players to the system, which is their overall goal. In my opinion, that should be their overall goal. I think icing on the cake is getting some of those people to move over to the core series, which I don't think you will. You won't get a significant portion. You'll get some of them, not a significant portion. And because, I mean, Pokemon Go itself caused a lot of people to go out and buy 3DSs and stuff. I know that was true of actually our own Professor Sycamore, who used to be on the show. As soon as Pokemon Go came out, he started talking to me about purchasing, the newest Pokemon game. This was back in Gen 6 still. And he's just like, should I buy Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, or should I buy X and Y? I'm like, you want X and Y. You'll enjoy that far more. I think you'll get some of that. But I don't want to harp on this because I've been saying the same thing for 3 weeks, and I'm sure people are tired of it.
The big picture thing is sort of the Nintendo Switch is proving to be an immensely successful console. It has a lot of third-party support, which is something people have wanted. It even has Skyrim on it, which is something you would have never expected like a year ago.
No, that's not true. Skyrim's on literally everything. Okay.
Yeah, but like it's never been on like the Wii U or something.
It was on the Wii U. It was put on the Wii U, and then now they're porting it.
What?
No, it wasn't on the Wii U. That's a lie. Skyrim was not on the Wii U.
Really? What?
Are you sure?
Yes. I owned a Wii U. I would know about this.
Anyway,
my bad.
Which is super successful. It's getting a bunch of like indie games, and it's getting a lot of money poured into it, and it's going to have good games for a lot of people, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. But let's move on to other things that were announced about this. So, if you want to keep playing this game, and you want to, you're just like, man, this is a remake of Pokemon Yellow, right? Yeah, kind of, except what about your rival? Is your rival still a mean person? That doesn't seem to fit with Pokemon's current rival system, and you'd be right, it doesn't. So they decided to get rid of the upsettingly mean rival and replace him with a guy named Trace, who's just your friend and helps you out all the time.
He just said that you stink. That's it.
Yeah.
And he might literally smell.
Honestly, I feel like that's part of the experience of Gen 1 games, is just getting a rival who you want, like you're just mad at and you beat.
Since Gen 3, they made you feel bad for like beating these guys.
Yeah. Well, I think Gen 3, if you consider Wally the rival, I feel like that was the last real rival we had.
Yeah, but he's the one I'm talking about. You just feel bad because he's like this sick kid who's just trying to be like,
I don't know. I think his story is super successful.
Everywhere he goes, and then he goes there, and no, like I was totally stoked for him. Like when I was first playing, and I saw like that was cool. That was a cool way to do like a friend rival, because it was like he's like going through this whole like unseen character arc of him, like just being like afraid and timid and everything like that, and then he actually grows into this super badass dude. So that was cool, but what I'm trying to say though is like afterwards you just start you're either feeling bad for them or you hate them so much and their stupid smiles that you just
you get Barry who got to go fast.
What?
Barry, right? Oh, is that what? Clint. Maybe that's what people.
What? What are we talking about?
The rival in Gen 4, the blonde kid who runs
Barry.
everywhere.
Barry.
Yeah, it's Barry. The best rival ever. He just runs everywhere. That's his whole plot.
He's pretty awful.
He goes fast.
Okay, my first real hatred, your rivals, came in the form of the 80 rivals that you had in X and Y.
I think that's where a lot of people started to like really criticize it, but I don't think. I mean, it was definitely an issue before then. Like Gen 4 was definitely a problem. I think Gen 5 equally so, unless you consider N to be your rival to an extent.
Yeah. I think N's the rival. The other ones, they're not rivals. They're just dorks that follow you around on your adventure.
Exactly.
It's Trevor, Shauna, and Tierno, and they were all memorable presences.
No, because you're missing a fourth one. There's a fourth one.
It's the, I don't know, generic opposite player character sets. That's what I call them. Anyway.
But yeah, that's our new rival. He's pretty awful.
Bring back Tierno. He likes to dance.
So Basket brought it up earlier. He missed the part where they talked about transferring Pokemon from Pokemon Go. So I had previously thought it would be possible to make it two-way. It didn't look that way, but I was kind of hoping. It is one way confirmed. It is only from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. It is only one way. Take that for what you will. The way it works is very Gen 4, actually. Back in Gen 4, we're just putting all the memes in today. But back in Gen 4, we had the PAL Park as our transfer method. And so the idea is you take a Gen 3 Pokemon, you bring it in, then you go catch it. So the same thing's happening in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. However, it's replacing the Safari Zone, which I think is a little sad because the Safari Zone is literally the exact same mechanic you're trying to put into the entire game. So that's stupid and sad. But so you can bring your Pokemon over from Pokemon Go, put them there, and then all you have to do is go catch them. And then you have that Pokemon in your game now. So that's kind of cool. You can bring them over, except for that Mew. And it has to be a Gen 1 Pokemon or they're Alolan forms. And as far as right now we have a Alolan Executor. On July 14th, we're getting a Alolan Diglett and a Alolan Geodude.
How do we get those by?
So Alolan Executor was out like for 3 or 4 days. I don't know how to evolve one from a regular Execute personally right now. I don't know if anybody does.
I don't either. I wasn't even aware. Like, I knew that there were Alolan Pokemon in there, but I thought that they were going to be like, like a Alolan Raticate that automatically evolves into it. I didn't think they would put something where you had to have like a...
Yeah, I don't know. I straight up just caught Alolan Executor. That's what happened. They did an event where they were wild for a couple of days. Super common. So I assume they're going to do the same thing with Alolan Diglett and Alolan Geodude. So I'm going to have to play a ton that weekend to get both of them. Moving on, so I don't lose my place. But that's how you catch the Pokemon. You bring them in, and depending on their CP in Pokemon Go, the higher level they'll be in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. So that'll be kind of nice. It's also a good place in the game to put it in there around Fuchsia City after you have like 3 or 4 badges. I think that's a good time to give it to you. Candy's also in there, just like Pokemon Go. Candy's there. You can, except it doesn't level up your Pokemon or something. Instead, it just boosts their stats. So that's weird and kind of cool because you can still send the Pokemon to the professor and get them turned into candy after you catch them. Except you get like quick candy or strong candy or something like that.
Nice.
Finally, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, other than some multiplayer you can play with friends, whatever, who cares, is playing on the internet is still allowed. However, you are going to need the Nintendo Internet thingamajig when that comes out, because that's still supposed to come out this fall.
Oh,
remember that?
Nintendo Switch Online.
They're finally doing that, like
yeah,
the Xbox
well,
sort of.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last fall, and then it got pushed back to the beginning of this year, and then it got pushed back to fall. So take that for what you will. The thing is, I've heard price points on it are going to be far lower than something like Xbox Live.
Right.
You're going to be getting, instead of $60 a year for Xbox Live, it's going to be $20 a year for Switch Online, which is something I'm willing to pay because I pay $5 a year right now for Pokemon Bank.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to just go, okay, this is fine. So yeah, that's something that you need, but you can still trade and battle online. You just don't get ladders or anything. So the fun thing is that means when this game comes out, Scron and I can do exhibition matches on stream.
Yes.
Gen 1 exhibition matches with all 0 of the... Well, no, actually, there won't be 0 dark types if we can get some of the Alolan forms in there.
I will bring 6 Golbats no matter what.
I don't know. I hope that we can get the Alolan forms in there sooner rather than later, because if not, you make a very unbalanced metagame. Because you get a lot of dark types added in with Alolan forms. You're getting Alolan Grimer and Muck, Alolan Rattata, and then Alolan Meowth, I believe, are all dark types. I don't know if anybody else grabbed it.
Yeah.
I think those are the only ones. Also, the game's no longer buggy, I guess, because now Ghost is super effective to Psychic, except instead of the original chart, which was absolutely awful.
Well, there's one of them, so...
Yeah, well, Alolan Marowak. Oh,
too.
yeah. Don't forget that. Yeah. Alolan Marowak, man.
That would be kind of overpowered, wouldn't it?
Alolan Marowak would be really good in this game, I think.
It would be really interesting meta.
Yeah, a Gen 1 meta would be... It's going to be an interesting meta. I want to see how Smogon handles it, because we don't know how the stats are going to work. They said they were going to try to simplify things, so we might not get things like EVs and IVs. Well, you'll probably have IVs, but you won't have EVs and stuff like that.
Well,
Let me tell you a story real quick.
I think that's what the candy's supposed to do.
I think so too, but I don't know. I'm really interested to see how this goes and to see if there's any Pokemon Bank compatibility that comes with this game. I feel like the no back to Pokemon Go makes me think that there's going to be some Pokemon Bank compatibility.
If we're talking Gen 1 meta, let me tell you about the time I got absolutely destroyed by Sejun Park in the All Kanto Classic tournament.
Use this as a capstone to this discussion. I'm excited for this. Please tell.
Yeah. So it was at Worlds in 2015 or 2016.
2016. That's when you went.
2016. Yeah. So I went to the Worlds, but I didn't go as like a participant. I went as a spectator. And if you had a spectator pass, you could do the side events. So I did the side events, and this was after the first day. Unfortunately, Sejun Park didn't make it past that on that particular year. He didn't make it past like the first
he didn't
day.
make it the day
So
two,
so he was doing the side events, and he was absolutely destroying them. And I actually got paired up against him, and it was super exciting. I have a picture of me with him, and like he doesn't speak English very well, so he was just sort of like, okay, picture, okay. And I was like trying to speak like what little Korean I know, so I was like saying "Annyeong haseyo" and like "Kamsahamnida," like stupid foreigner stuff. Anyway, we battled, and like I had a really good team, and I got him down. I managed to KO 2 of his Pokemon, and then he brought out the Sea King. And the Sea King with Lightning Rod is really good because Electric was one of the few types that was, effective, right? But like it just, for something he did with the Sea King, just completely shut down my entire team. I don't like it was physical with Drill Run and like Waterfall and stuff.
Ooh.
It was, yeah.
It's gonna mess
like,
you up.
Yeah. So that's the story of how one time Scron got wrecked by Pachirisu, dude.
All right. That is going to be where we end this discussion this week, guys.
Actually, there's one more thing. I have a public service announcement regarding Pokemon Let's Go. Basically, so I know what everybody's thinking and what everybody wants, like me. They want their Pikachu buddy to evolve into a Raichu, and they want to be able to pick what their evolution is going to be for the Eevees. And I'm sorry, they're probably specifically not bringing that up because they don't want to disappoint you, because they want you to buy the game and think that you're going to have a little Raichu, a little Raichu riding on your hat, or some cool Vaporeon riding on your hat, or whatever, But that's not going to happen, guys. So I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're going to be disappointed. So just go in there, knowing that.
All right, and
no,
on that,
for real though,
you're right.
I would actually love, I would actually use Raichu if he was hanging out on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, this is the coolest thing. Hell yeah, Raichu, you're awesome, riding on my shoulder like a badass. And then if I had an Eevee and I got a Vaporeon or an Umbreon or whatever, and it was just like riding on my hat, I would actually be upset. I'd be like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But if you could turn that Eevee into one of those things, and then maybe it ran in front of you or to the side of you while something ran in the back, or it just replaced the back Pokemon, I'd be totally cool with that too. But I just don't understand why they don't want Raichu to ride on my shoulder, man.
Oh man, because they have specific animations for it. That's the real answer.
No, I know, but I don't know. I just think it was stupid when they made the Pokemon Yellow Pikachu, if it evolved, like just wouldn't like hang out with you anymore. I thought that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Raichu's also pretty fat, so you probably want to be able to keep it on your shoulder.
That's true.
I just get really big shoulders.
All right.
Bodybuilder basket.
Mm-hmm.
On that note,
I'd switch him from my left shoulder to my right shoulder every day to keep him even. Sorry, you can go on.
On that note, we're gonna take a short commercial break, guys. We'll be right back at you with the Pokemon of the episode. We'll catch you guys on the flip flop.
Well, hey, little Timmy, what's that you're drinking?
Just a green Tauros. It's a bit hard to drink though since it turned my hands into hooves. I had to get a straw.
Ah, so I see you haven't tried the most recent product from Green Tauros Incorporated, Green Tauros Nitro.
What? I don't think I really want to. These hooves are absolutely debilitating.
Nonsense! Green Tauros Nitro will revolutionize your life and take care of your little hoof problem.
You mean I can get rid of my hooves? Count me in!
Excellent! Just take a little sip right here.
Weird! It's spicy!
And how do you feel, Timmy?
I feel tingly all over! Why am I growing fur? What's happening to me?
Ha 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 ha! No need to worry, Timmy. The effects of drinking Green Tauros Nitro are 100% pain-free. Not to mention, you'll receive 2,000% your daily value of vitamin B12.
Ah! Why am I turning into a Tauros? Whoa!
And there you have it, folks. Green Tauros Nitro, the energy drink that not only gives you hooves, but turns you into a full-blown Tauros. Buy some today at your local Pokemart.
Poke of the episode.
And welcome back to the Pokemon of the episode. Our Pokemon of the episode this week is National Dex number 224, Octillery, the Jet Pokemon.
So basically all of them up until Gen 6 say that he wants to be in holes and that he can fit into these tiny little itty-bitty holes. And then in Y, it says it traps foes with the suction cups on its tentacles, then smashes them with its rock-hard head. Which
I was thinking the same thing.
makes no sense. No sense to me.
It's a hypocritical Pokemon.
And then, but the one that I really liked was the Gen 7 one. In Ultra Sun, its Pokedex entry reads, "The ink it spits when escaping is special. It contains a substance that dulls the sense of smell, so Pokemon with keen noses get lost." What?
There's so much wrong with this Pokemon. I feel like, okay, so the beta art was leaked recently, and it looked way cooler in that. It makes more sense for it to be Octillery. One, for it to have a hard head. That's more reasonable with the old design, where he's definitely dressed up like a Sherman tank. And I like that one a lot better for a lot of these Pokedex entries. And it's definitely one of those things where you can tell they write Pokedex entries with older designs in mind sometimes, it seems like. Where they're just like, yeah, we were developing this Pokemon, this is what happened. Oh, you probably can't see that anymore, can you? And that's kind of the insight I gained from that. They also call him the Jet Pokemon, which I don't understand whatsoever. Like, if you're going to call him anything, like, call him the Artillery Pokemon, or call him the Tank Pokemon or something like that, you know? I feel like that's better than the Jet Pokemon.
Or the Whistling Pokemon, because he always looks like he's whistling.
So despite having a rock-hard head and still being able to fit into tiny holes, keep in mind that this Pokemon's evolutionary line, it makes perhaps the least amount of sense from any other, because it goes from what a Pokemon based on a Remora, which is a type of parasitic fish, to an octopus.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Which is a cephalopod.
It
makes
sense.
no sense. How does it make sense? Explain how that makes sense, Thatch.
Because they both, one's a gun and one's a tank. Duh.
So, they can both stick to things.
My rationale is, if I wanted my gun to evolve, I would totally see it evolving into a tank. And they found a way to do that. So if you were just like, man, Octillery's so cool, I can't wait to use him competitively. Oh, do I have something for you? So Octillery's base stats are a base 75 in HP, a base 105 in attack, base 75 in defense, base 105 in special attack, base 75 in special defense, and a solid base 45 speed. So, of course, this puts him in the PU tier, where every mono water type belongs that isn't, like, I don't know, Wailord or something.
But Thatch, it gets Bullet Seed and Rock Blast. Does it not have Skill Link?
No, his abilities are absolutely awful.
It has base 45 speed, and it's called the Jet Pokemon?
Yeah, isn't this even worse? So... He gets snipe. So the only good ability he gets is Sniper. Let that be noted. So for those of you who don't know, Sniper gives you a ×2 for critical hits, actually 2.25 on critical hits instead of 1.5. So that's good. However, his other abilities are Suction Cups, which isn't very good except in an out-of-game scenario. If you want to try to do something like chain fishing in Pokemon, that's what you would do with that. And then Moody is banned in most formats, it turns out. You can't use Moody because it just randomly boosts stats, and the most notable of which being Evasion, which is a problem. His move pool is actually not bad, though. He's got coverage of pretty much every type. That makes him all right. His special move pool is definitely deeper than his physical move pool. So you typically run him as a special mon, but you could definitely run him as something physical. You could run an Adamant Octillery if you wanted to, and it would almost work. But Choice Specs is probably the way to go. Slap a Modest on it. You want to go Hydro Pump, Fire Blast, Energy Ball, Ice Beam. I think that gives you really solid coverage, actually. I think the only thing you can't hit with that is our Fairy types. But you're in UU, or in PU. Never mind, not UU, PU. What Fairy types are there? Probably none.
Fairy types are good.
Yeah, Fairy types are good. I don't know how many are actually in PU. I think it's very, very minimal. Maybe Wigglytuff's down there. Wigglytuff might be there. So watch out for those Wigglytuff. It doesn't matter because you have Flash Cannon anyway. So you could always run Flash Cannon or Gunk Shot even if you want to run Physical Octillery. I think he also gets Sludge Bomb. Actually, he gets Sludge Bomb. Don't run Flash Cannon. Run Sludge Bomb. That's far better. Unless you're worried about those Ice-type Pokemon that are just flooding PU, but you have Fire Blast, so...
And Rock Blast. Yeah. It does have good coverage.
It has really good coverage. The problem is he's got terrible defenses.
And speed is just awful.
Yeah.
I want a Mega Octillery. That's what I want.
Okay, only if it turns into something...
Give him 16 legs, a big, huge kissy face, and make his bulbous bulbs that don't even look like suction cups, make them even bulbier.
I really want an Octillery. So I love Octillery in the anime every time it shows up because I think almost every single episode an Octillery is like focused on in the anime. It's just incredibly depressed.
It's like you're a Pokemon.
Yeah, well, like it's just incredibly depressed. I think the first time Octillery was in the anime was in Gen 2, obviously, in the Gold and Silver when they were in the Whirl Islands. And the reason Octillery is at the forefront is because it's a Remoraid that had just evolved. And so it's in this dilemma of, hey, I can't hang out with my Remoraid friends anymore. I am now an Octillery.
I do everything through the same hole.
And he's just like super depressed the entire time.
Depressed Octillery. I'm gonna breed one and name it Eeyore now.
So that's a more apt description, I think. Instead of the Jet Pokemon, let's call him the Eeyore Pokemon, right? I think where Octillery shines the most, though, in the Pokemon universe has to be the TCG. Mm-hmm. Absolutely the TCG. Because I know Basket can definitely comment on this with me. But
I used that card a bunch when I played as well.
Absolutely, because the Octillery from Breakthrough is fantastic. What were you saying, Basket?
I said it's a budget Shaman, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and well, Shaman's gone now too, so it all works out.
It replaced Shaman essentially.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, Octillery for those is a stage 2 card, 90 HP, nothing fantastic. Its attack is garbage. It's 2 water energy and a colorless, so you can use the move Hug for 40 damage, and the defending Pokemon can't retreat. And I mean, you want it to retreat because it's probably going to kill you otherwise.
Yeah.
But that's not the reason you play Octillery. It's for its ability Abysmal Hand. or Abyssal Hand, my bad, where once per turn before you attack, you can draw cards in your hand until you have 5. My favorite way to use this is still in the Gardevoir GX deck right now, where you can bring in a Gallade with Premonition, also from Breakthrough. And you can actually take the top 5 cards of your deck and order them however you want to make sure you get the most out of the top 5 cards you draw. Because you could say you have like 1 card in your hand, so you can't draw all 5. You're only going to draw 4 cards, but you can make sure that the top 4 are the ones that you want out of the top 5. So that's not a bad wombo combo. I think that's what the person who won Worlds last year did, actually. I think he ran the Gardevoir GX deck with the what's it called? He ran Gardevoir GX with
Gallade.
With Gallade. Yep. Because I don't think there's ever a reason to run more than 3 GXs in your deck, personally, of any one Pokemon. Just because, I mean, if your opponent KOs 3 GXs, yeah, they've won. That's the game. So why would you ever want to run 4 Gardevoirs in your deck unless you're worried that 3 of them are getting prized? And if they are, you're already done. Like, that's game.
Pretty much.
I don't know. In a Gardevoir deck, you might still be able to pull that out here, but
yeah, somehow you'll just you'll draw the Gallade and then grab like 2 Gardevoir right out of the gate or something.
Shiny Octillery is gold.
Oh, he is. He's one of the not bad shinies, because most shinies are bad now. Most of them. It makes me feel bad on the inside, because most shinies.
What do you mean now? I feel like the newer shinies are better because they're not just, inverted.
Yeah, so I agree with you. The Gen 7 shinies are really good because they're not inverted. But what I mean is when we went to 3D and X and Y, a lot of shinies kind of just got faded out. I think the best example with this is, I mean, if you're at a computer screen right now, go look at Shiny Lantern. That's going to make your heart hurt, because Shiny Lantern used to look so cool in sprite art. It was this nice purple color. And then if you look at Shiny Lantern now in Gen 6, it's just kind of like this faded blue.
Yeah. It was like it. If you're shiny hunting for one, you could easily miss it, even if you've seen the last 30. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
But there's a lot of Pokemon shinies that got kind of washed out like that, and that's my problem with it. Just they did something with the palette swaps when they went to Gen 6 that didn't quite work out the way that we had all hoped. So Gen 7
they
make
turned all the green. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Gen 8, make all the shinies great again. That's all I wanted to say.
I was going to say that they made all the in Gen 7. They made all the green shinies like a baby poop pea soup color instead of brighter green.
That's an apt description.
But anyway, the real reason we chose Octillery as the poke of the episode is because of the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion.
Honestly, yeah. I've been playing a lot of that, and I was just like, we need a Pokemon of the episode. This one reminds me of what I've been doing recently.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a really good expansion.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fun. If you play Splatoon, definitely. And if you play Switch games, you can come to our Discord server. Plug.
Yeah, come play with us.
Don't say it like that, but yeah. Come and hang out with us and play Splatoon. Oh,
I need more friends.
All right, that is going
Thatch
to be.
Doesn't talk to me unless I'm on the podcast with him.
You could talk to me. You just have to ask.
You're scary over text. I'm dismissing. All right, let's move on.
All right, that's going to be it for the Pokemon of the episode. Let's kick it on over to the mailbag.
It's mail time. It's time for the mailbag. Send in your emails. The mail's here. Check your inbox. It's time for the mailbag. Mail!
And on to the mailbag. The mailbag, as always, is brought to you by the energy drink Green Toros, the energy drink
Nitro
gives you hooves.
Turns you into a full-blown Tauros.
Oh my gosh. I like the confusion from Basket. It's probably my favorite part of this whole ordeal.
Hooves. Hooves. Hooves.
And as always, this is the segment of the show where we read listener emails. We typically have a prompt. We want to know what everybody thinks about Pokemon Go and its effect on the Pokemon series as a whole. You can, of course, send your email into puclpodcast@gmail.com. I want to know what you guys thought of E3. What was your favorite part of E3? I don't even care if it's Pokemon related. Just let me know. Send that in to puclpodcast@gmail.com. I'm very excited to see your responses for next week. So let's jump into it then. So our first email is from Hanakane, and Scron says he was going to read this one.
Yes, I'm going to read this email. This email is exceptionally long, and we are on a time frame, so I'm going to be very quick about reading it. If you don't want your email read quickly in the future, then do not write as much. Okay, let us do this.
500 words is a good number, just as a future reference.
After Let's Go Pikachu was announced, I was amazed by how pretentious some items on my manifesto turned out to be. I have therefore reduced my rejected emails word count from 1,600 to around 600. Phew. So maybe a bit more would be better. Phew. I'd love to know your thoughts. 1. Start from the ground up. Game Freak has got away with copying and pasting for too long. The reason Breath of the Wild reinvigorated Zelda fans is that it ditched the linear formula that worked for Ocarina of Time and dared to take a risk. It gave us a world to explore and it handed us an initiative. That kind of respect for the player is absent from Pokemon games. Forget an update. It's time for a change. Pokemon needs a Super Mario 64 moment, not another NSMB. 2. Split Pokemon games into 2. Battle and Adventure. Some love Pokemon battles, others play to explore. Many enjoy both, but those are two different modes of gameplay as evidenced by Pokemon Go and Showdown. The fact that players go to unofficial websites like Showdown to practice for official tournaments proves Game Freak is underserving a crucial audience. By trying to appease casual and competitive players, Pokemon mainline games fail to satisfy either group. Here's my solution. Make a dedicated battle game and a separate adventure series. Tutorials in the battle game would be optional. A rental system would remove the need to take a PhD in Pokemon science before competing. Having to learn about breeding, IVs, EVs, egg moves, egg groups, destiny, not Everstones, types, natures, hidden power abilities, weather effects, field effects, status effects, hazards, items, mega evolutions, Zimas, priority moves, speed tiers, battle tiers, and damage calculators. Before being able to compete, it's insane.
Before you die.
You won't attract new people to Pokemon by penalizing them for lack of expert knowledge. Someone with no experience in Pokemon should be able to mix it up online within a few hours, not a few months of playing the game. Learning the ropes should be fun, not homework.
Wait. I want to comment there. Just because I feel like to be good at anything, it takes months to be good at it. I don't think you can be like, man, you should be able to master this video game and the competitive scene of this video game in 3 hours.
I don't think that's what he's trying to say. I don't think he's talking about mastering it, right? He didn't. I think he's just saying like
someone with no experience in Pokemon should be able to mix it up online within a few hours, not a few months of playing the game.
Well, I mean, I mix it up online. I just suck.
That's the part. That's how you get good. Like you can't. That's like saying, man, I hope everybody can just be a master at whatever first person shooter exists out there, or I wish that within 3 hours, I could be a master of Street Fighter 5, right?
It's like
that doesn't exist. It's a game. Like if you want to be good at something, you have to work at it. You can't be upset about that.
Yeah, and also a game where everybody's great, like right off the bat. You know, like
that's no fun.
It's nothing that anybody's going to want to turn into a competitive game.
Exactly.
Like there's a reason why. For the longest time, I don't remember which one it was, but fans of the Street Fighter series were playing on an old, outdated Street Fighter game because the last 2 or whatever had these giant issues.
So that was actually Street Fighter 5. They went back to Street Fighter 4.
Yeah,
Fun fact. But yeah, you're right.
Fans.
You're right.
Anyway,
right. Continue. I just wanted to get that off my chest. It pissed me off.
That's where the adventure game comes in. If casual players aren't interested in online battling, they should still have incentives to explore and interact with PCs besides acquiring items and TMs that they'll never use. They shouldn't be forced to breed for dozens of hours for the perfect Pokemon that will only be optimal in one team for a couple of months. That's a disincentive to play. To be clear, I'm saying Game Freak should streamline, not simplify Pokemon mechanics. Splitting the games would tailor the playing experience to both audiences. The AZ of Pokemon battling is an unreasonably high entry barrier that punishes casual players, while the 30-hour story required for keeping up with the meta game frustrates competitive ones. Tell me about that. I still haven't got my Mega Bracelet. Game Freak's tutorials are counterproductive as hardcore fans and newcomers alike were bored by Sun and Move's hand-holding antics. Give me a Pokemon Stadium 3 with crisp graphics, snazzy animations, and a battle facility, a rental system, a story mode, online battling, custom multiplayer tournaments, mythical Pokemon as prizes, bosses like Shadow Mewtwo, unlockable battle arenas, and rare items. You really like your commas.
Okay.
I want to comment about something here real quick. So basically, what it seems like is being suggested here is that they make some sort of game that's like basically just the adventure where you don't have to worry about battling, where you just go around and you just catch Pokemon, right? But you're in a Pokemon setting, you know, like maybe Kanto, you know, with like maybe a remake of like the yellow version or something, you know, where you just go around and you just catch Pokemon and you get to have the adventure, right?
Are you being passive aggressive, Basket?
Well, no. So he sent this email before we got the reveal.
What I'm trying to say is, it's been like painfully obvious for me the last few iterations of Pokemon that the story and things are they're being like passed over because Game Freak wants to attract children. And expects the older players to still be okay with what's going on, right? And then as far as the battling thing goes, I mean, I honestly feel like right now that's exactly what's happening. Like you can play through the 30-hour story, right? And you can get what you want and you can put down the game. You know, if you want to actually be good at battling, then you know, you got to put in the effort.
Yeah. So my feeling about the competitive scene in Pokemon, this is bringing up a lot of topics, but my feeling about the competitive scene in Pokemon is I don't think Pokemon's trying to become an esport per se. I don't think that's their intention. I think their intention is to make money. I think that the VGC scene is more of a sideshow compared to the TCG scene when it comes to their tournaments and stuff. Like if we take a look at just the sheer number of players that show up to events, like when I went to St. Louis, I don't want to like keep kicking a dead horse, but when I went to St. Louis, there were 192 players for video game Masters, right? There were 1,000 for TCG Masters. So they're definitely making their money from the TCG players. I don't think they care that much about the video game players in their competitive scene, right? I don't see Pokemon as actively trying to foster a competitive scene. In my opinion, if they did, they wouldn't have seasons like the one that we're probably about to walk into, where it's bring 2 legendaries of any kind you want, right? And then you end up seeing Ultra Necrozma just destroy the scene. I really think that the kind of person they want to come to that is they want an actual Pokemon fan and not somebody who's just a fan of the mechanics of the chess game that goes on in Pokemon. That's my big opinion of it. I think they in their mindset and in mine personally as well, I prefer it if it's some like I'd rather play a guy who was not as good at the game as they possibly could if they were just like solely simulating everything, right? But rather just, hey, I played through this game because it's fun. I really like Pokemon, so I decided to jump into the competitive scene with it. Right? I'd much rather play that person than, man, I sat down at my computer and I played 72 rounds of Showdown. I know that if I use Brave Bird with my Crobat, I am going to do 56.3% damage max.
That's really close to comic book guy from The Simpsons.
I was just gonna say that was perfect. That was right? Absolutely perfect.
Right? Yeah. And so, wow. But that's my feeling with the competitive scene in Pokemon. I'd much rather play somebody who's into the whole franchise than somebody who's just into that one tiny aspect. I know you get this in the TCG as well. You'll get people who don't even know Pokemon names, but they want to play the card game because it's a cheaper version of Magic, and they'll go play that, right? But yeah,
I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the Pokemon TCG is harder than Magic in my opinion.
That's fine. I don't know. I never played Magic and I don't ever plan on it. But yeah, go ahead, finish this off. We're almost done.
All right. New game does not equal 100 new Pokemon. Despite looking cool, each new batch of Pokemon dilutes the value of existing ones as they pass from today's must-haves to yesterday's has-beens. Stop dumping 80 Pokemon at once. Instead, add newly discovered species in the wild through periodic updates. That would preserve the value of old Pokemon and get us excited about new ones. Players wouldn't be overwhelmed by a pile of new Pokemon that reshape the metagame in one swoop. DLC could add stories of areas to existing regions. A Master Mode with improved AI and higher-level Pokemon would draw in competitive players. Imagine a package called Kanto Winter with Viridian Forest covered in snow, new Pokemon forms, and a reshuffled Elite Four. Parts of Seafoam Islands could freeze over, exposing previously inaccessible areas. This would transform a prepackaged, ready-made game into a living and breathing experience. The possibilities are endless, and the model would be more sustainable. Hanakane.
I don't think that's true.
All right, I was okay. I absolutely and utterly disagree with the first half of that. I hate DLC, 100%. And throwing in like I'm not dismissing Hanakane's argument. You know, like that's something he thinks it would work well. I'm not attacking him. I just think personally, like from my view, like if Pokemon was like, hey, we came out with the new Pokemon game, but it's only going to start with the original 700 and whatever that we have. And then we're going to drop in Pokemon later, you know, like that would just piss me off, especially because I would be super worried that the way, you know, DLC is headed, that would be microtransactions. Like, oh, do you want this Pokemon? Well, that's 99 cents, you know. You want this Pokemon? That's 99 cents. And then once the meta like moves ahead and someone buys the game late, then they have, you know, like the meta's strongest Pokemon. It's like, oh, well, it's only $3.99, but to get, you know, 6 of those, you're spending what, like $18?
Yeah. My concern also is I don't think that if you drop 80 new Pokemon, that's that big of a deal, personally, because first of all, his main concern is that old Pokemon lose their value, and that's not necessarily true. Like, I like to make jokes that that if you look at Gen 7 underused here, it's the Gen 6 OU. It's partially true, but partially not. There's still a ton of Pokemon that are still valued rather highly. I think honestly, the one that does really well in general is Venusaur. Like that thing's OU still.
Yeah.
Like it's Venusaur. And that's OG Gen 1 Pokemon. It's OU. I can pull up a tier list and I can probably find a bunch of Pokemon. I think another staple that's been around for a while, because I mean, for us as longtime Pokemon fans, which I know Hanakane is, things seem shorter to us, especially in relative terms. But if you think about Gen 5 came out in 2011. That's 7 years old now, right?
Yeah.
And so a 7-year-old Pokemon that's still relevant in the meta right now, 2 of them I can think of, Landorus and Excadrill, both of them very relevant in the meta. They are not irrelevant by any means.
Yeah, and you've got Garchomp Gen 4.
Oh
you've
man,
got,
Garchomp. Garchomp has still
Dragonite.
around.
You've got Dragonite that's done the same thing as Venusaur, has just been consistently OU throughout everything.
Also, Pelipper's up in OU now again because it got drizzled. I think the thing that he forgets is that they do things. They in between generations, they do balancing. Like that's their balancing patch. You have to think of each gen as a patch per se. In terms of Pokemon, and because a lot of things got bumped up, like Pelipper, I think is the biggest example. Who would have ever thought Pelipper would ever be relevant in Pokemon, right? It was awful in Gen 3, it was awful in Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, and now all of a sudden it's OU because it gets a drizzle. They're just like, hey, have this ability, Pelipper, and then Pelipper takes it and runs with it. And I would have to say that 80 new Pokemon at once isn't the problem. I think it's just balancing in general. Like, you can be mad that Talonflame's no longer relevant, and that's fine. But Talonflame was cancer, so that's fine. It's called balancing. We nerfed the crap out of Talonflame, right? We're just like, your Gale Wings ability is useless now. You can't do anything.
Didn't they do the same thing as they basically did with what's his name? Like giving the the defeatist thing, right? They basically gave that to
Archeops.
Talonflame, but that's only because his best move is Brave Bird, which hurts him.
Well, no, they didn't give him Defeatus. They just gave him Gale Wings, and what they did is they like nerf Gale Wings to the ground, and they said,
"Well, right, that's what I meant because he loses health, and his health is the balance for
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It was essentially giving him Defeatus in a different way.
Yeah, it's like inverse Defeatus. Yeah, he loses a lot, and they also came up with a lot of abilities because every single release when they announced a new Pokemon for Gen 7. Like Tapu Lele was the first. You see Psychic Terrain come up, and you're just like, "Oh, no more priority for Brave Bird, right?" And then you see, I think the next one's Serena. You see Serena come up. She has Queenly Majesty. You can't use priority moves against her. And so you see a lot of things where it's just like, yeah, we're nerfing Talonflame to the ground. And that's the one thing. Like there are, like I don't think adding 80 Pokemon at once is a problem. If you're saying that the meta gets stale, that's not true. Metas rotate literally all the time. I think the biggest one you could see was in, especially if you think about the VGC metas as well. They do a really good job of rotating those. And that's like when we got VGC 15, when it was just Gen 7 Pokemon essentially. It was just a Alola Dex, and you just saw a rotation in that meta. It kept changing. There was no centralization. It was great. So just remember that. That's all I want to say. Man, that went on for a while. We had a lot of discussion there. But let's do one more. I'll take this last one. We have time for one more. We'll take this last one from, I think, Lance. He didn't actually sign his email, so I'm going to go with Lance. Hey there, Puckalonians. For the mailbag question, I wanted to say that I definitely think that Pokemon Go has had a positive impact on the community. While out on Community Day, I've met people who've traveled from other states with friends just to catch Pokemon and see families playing together. I've also met a local community of players that I can rush to meet for raids when I am in town and able to play. I'd like to see more community-type events worked into the game, but I would love more support for the game outside of cities. Cough, cough, Pokestops, cough, cough. But I guess can't always get what you want. Well, I've got to go. The Snow Point Gym needs its sidewalk shoveled, and it's a never-ending job. Catch you on the flip-flop. But yeah, I don't think Hanakane has the Green Tauros badge, and he inspired a lot of discussion today.
I was actually just going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
It was long, and don't do that again. But it was, and I know he reduced it from what was 1,600 words.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like make time for that and get other people's stuffs out there because we have to bump another mailbag because the first one was so long.
Yeah.
So it's not just our desire that it's shorter, it's that it bumps other people's emails out.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to give it to Hanakane though, because it did create a bunch of discussion. So
yep, and it's the 2018 Green Tauros badge. You get the special role on our Discord server.
Makes your name obnoxiously green. All right, so that is going to be it. If you want to email us next week, you can do so at puclpodcast@gmail.com. Answering what was your favorite thing that came out of E3? Let us know. puclpodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can go ahead and check out us on our social medias at Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. All those are at puclpodcast.com, as well as the PuckleCon schedule and order of events and pricing and everything, where we're going to be, when we're going to be there, when Scron will take a picture with you. It's all on puclpodcast.com. Actually, we shouldn't get big enough heads that think people are going to take pictures with us.
I mean,
you can also, we'll actually get like a pre-made banner that people can take pictures of that are just a picture of us.
Like giving thumbs up and like smiling vaguely.
Yeah.
Totally. And we have one of those cutout heads.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We just give them like a generic white shirt and brown
Exactly.
And then they just stick their head in there and take the picture.
Yes, exactly. That's how it's going to go down.
Yes.
If you want to talk to us on Discord and possibly get the Green Tauros badge roll there, you could do so by just clicking the invite link in the show notes. We would love to have you guys there. We have a blast there, and I love meeting all of you. You can also go to twitch.tv/thepucklepodcast. If you want to catch me or Jushiro streaming either the video game or the TCG, I think I'm going to start picking up an extra day a month just to do shiny hunts, because I think people want to watch that on Twitch. And I also just like doing it because it's a cool way just to hang out with people on Twitch.
Yeah,
so
that's why people like it. It's a nice little chat room while you watch someone in pain.
Exactly. So I might start doing that. And if you would like to support the show, you could do so in a couple ways. One, you can go back to Twitch, and if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can actually sub to us on Twitch, which will help us out. We'll get like $2 from that month, and we'll really appreciate that. And it's free for you if you're not subbed to anybody else on Twitch. You can also go to our TeePublic store and buy a bunch of t-shirts, including the PuckleCon 2018 shirt, so that even if you aren't at PuckleCon, you could feel like you're there when you're either watching the YouTube highlights or the stream. We don't know which one of those is happening yet. And then you can more directly support the show by going to patreon.com/puclpodcast, and we'll, of course, give you a bunch of sweet perks there. If you're at the $10 tier, you get some cool custom TCG cards. This month, it is the Bocephus card. So definitely consider paying up if you want that Bocephus card, that sweet, sweet Bocephus TCG card. We need to do next year when we have like a full set of like these Puckle TCG cards. We need to do a tournament where you're allowed to use them.
Oh my goodness!
Because they're all.
I don't think.
Well, the problem is they're all bad. They're all bad.
Yeah.
Like none of them are good.
Mine
Isn't like one of them involve flying to Italy or something?
Yes, it's the Whimsicott card. The Whimsicott card. Let me read it. I have it on my desk.
like
fly.
38.
This attack can only be used once per year. Because that's how often she comes to visit us. So that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you for listening to the show. I'm Trainer Thatch.
I'm Scron.
And I'm Basket.
And here in the Lavender Town Radio Tower, it's closing time.
It's closing time in Lavender Town. Time to say our goodbyes. It's closing time. Farewell, my friends. I'll catch you on the flip side.
As always, we would like to thank our patrons for making the show possible. So thank you to Declan, Duly Noted, 10 Little Men, V for Viking, Andrea, The Fluffiest Whimsicott, Shamu, Mongo87, Snag, Dexio, Jushiro, Rotted Mushroom, Bocephus, Alvarin, Seth Vilo, Minor Manetric, Claude9, Chris, John, R. Sigma, Doc McStuffles, Nathan, The Golden Clef Key, Uncle Oshawott, Trevor, TJ, Shambles, Birdkeeper Cobra, Daniel, Traby, Greg, Alec, Mikey, Ozzy, Jedi DJ, Bob, Sparky, Brian, Orange Avenger, Thomas, Block, Dennis, Echo, Anime Gravy, Travis, Mark Inferno235, and the Real Eevee for supporting the show. We are going to be doing a live podcast with you guys here on June 30th. So mark your calendars for that one, guys. We'll be doing a live podcast that morning. More details to come at patreon.com. Of course, if you want your name listed at the end of the show, you can go ahead and go to patreon.com and also get access to a bunch of other perks. It's going to be great. So I will catch you guys on the flip-flop.